on 28th May, we are going to celebrate World Nutrition Day, sponsored by Herbalife Nutrition. World Nutrition Day celebration is an initiative supported by many institutions across the world, including the Spanish Federation of Societies of Nutrition, Food and Dietetics. Nutrition is the most utmost importance, especially in the times that we are living today. Obviously, healthy eating is important no matter what our age, race, gender, or religion. Yet, is probably something that we do not pay enough attention to. Take shortcuts and are blissfully ignorant about the damage we could potentially be doing to ourselves and the environment. And also, due to this COVID-19 pandemic, we are now very sure about the importance of nutrition and balanced diet in our lives. The importance of good nutrition in the diet cannot be stated enough for maintaining the body's overall health and well-being. New realities mean that we need to look at the food and diet in a new way. It's important to restrict one's diet without compromising on nutrition. Nutrition is key. People should include a healthy diet in their daily routine and whole grain, fruits, vegetables, fat-free milk, etc. Full of nutrition, which not only helps in growth but also make the immune system strong. So once again, I would like to welcome you all. Thank you so much for giving your precious time to us. I am highly glad to have you here in the session. We are going to talk about today about facts about fat, and here it is. Historically, as scientists learned about fats, low fat and fat free diets were popular. But this is contrary to what is now known about the role of fat in the body. It is now understood that the type of fat eaten from various food sources has more of an impact on health. That is the difference in health effects between good beneficial fat and bad harmful fats. Rather than reducing overall fat intake to a low fat diet, one should instead focus on choosing more of the beneficial unsaturated fat and limiting the harmful saturated fats. Any fats not used by our body cells or turned into energy is converted into body fat. Likewise, unused carbohydrates and proteins are also converted into body fat. As part of a healthy diet, you should try to cut down on foods and drinks that are high in saturated fats and trans fats and replace some of them with unsaturated fats. In order to further discuss on the facts about fat, we have some eminent speakers with us, and let me introduce them. Welcome, Sheila Krishna Swami, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. She is a nutrition and wellness consultant. Ma'am is a registered dietitian with 38 years of professional experience and in the clinical, corporate, and communication spaces pan India. She was trained in India and overseas. She is actively involved in national and international dietetic association and has held leadership positions in both. She has a mainstream media presence for last 25 years, formerly a nutrition entrepreneur, an editor, a public speaker, and a blogger. Currently, she is nutrition and wellness consultant and works independently as an advisor, a writer, an anchor, and a corporate trainer. Welcome, ma'am. Now I'm going to welcome and introduce our next speaker, Sheila Gauli, ma'am, Assistant Director, FSSAI MP. Welcome, ma'am. Sheila ma'am is working as Assistant Director and FSSAI Western Region, having charge as CLA of MP. Earlier, she has worked for 2 years as CLA Gujarat. Previously worked in Food and Drugs Control Laboratory at FDA Maharashtra as scientific officer. She has reached experience of 25 years in the field of laboratory and 3 years in regulatory. We are glad to have you, ma'am. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome our next speaker, Dr. Mohammed Ali. Welcome, sir. He is senior cardiologist, Shalbai Hospital, Indore. Dr. Ali has been practicing as cardiac surgeon for last 18 years. He is presently director of cardiac surgery at Shalbai Hospital, Indore. His main area of interest is minimally invasive cardiac surgery. Dr. Ali is an alumni of MGM Medical College, Indore, from where he completed both MBBS and MS general surgery. He then joined the prestigious PK Sen Department of Cardiothoracic Surgery at KM Hospital, Mumbai for his MCH. He finished his degree with flying colors and was awarded gold medal by Mumbai University. He was then selected for an Elite Advanced Cardiac Surgery Fellowship at University of Alberta Hospital, Canada, where he learned critical techniques and like heart transplantation and LVADs. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for giving your precious time to us.
Thank you very much.
Now, next I'm going to welcome Pritha Tripathi, ma'am, DGM Training FICSI. Ma'am is working as Deputy General Manager Training FICSI. She is a food technologist with over 11 years of national and international experience. She is BTech in Biotechnology from India and MTech Food Science and Technology from Melbourne, Australia. She has served as scientist and FSSAI for 5 years and developed and managed the FOSTEC training ecosystem for training and food handler. Welcome, ma'am. Now, next I'm going to welcome Soumya Sucharita Prusti, ma'am, dietitian AIMS Bhubaneswar. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mrs. Soumya is working as dietitian at AIMS All India Institute of Medical Science Bhubaneswar. She has worked as dietitian with multiple corporate hospitals for more than 10 years. Next, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Narsimha Bhatt, our industry expert. Mr. Narsimha Bhatt is quality and food safety professional. He worked as corporate quality head in Morocco for 20 years. He have overall more than 40 years of experience in handling quality management system. He has expertise in initiating and implementing of food safety and management system at many corporates. He is the associate member of CII FACE and IMC Ramakrishna Bajaj National Quality Award. Welcome, sir. My next question is to dietitian Sheila Krishnaswamy, ma'am. So, ma'am, if you can briefly highlight the fat, what are the daily diets we usually eat containing high fats, which is harmful? And what are the substitute would you like to recommend, or how can we replace bad fats with good fats?
Thank you for that question, Prerna. Let me begin by thanking Yashi Srivastava for inviting me here today on this panel discussion. And I think she's created a very good platform to disseminate nutrition information to the general public. So thank you, Yashi, once again. Moving on to the question that you just asked me, there are several high fat foods that one eats daily. And just to give a few examples, it could be butter in the morning that is used in breakfast, or it could be vada or puri that's used in breakfast, or it could be a naan that's eaten at lunch, which is very high in fat and, of course, refined flour. It could be a dal makhani, which is used as an accompaniment. It could be fried vegetables, which are high in fat. And of course, we all know that fried snacks like samosas, namkeens, and all of that is used regularly in Indian homes or in offices or even outside, taken as a snack. I think all these snacks are favorites amongst Indians. We also have other things like high fat milkshakes and desserts like ice creams and pastries and all of those which are very high in fat. There are substitutes and definitely better ones that can be used in place of high fat dishes. So, in place of butter, one could always use nut butter or hummus or tahini as a spread, which is much more nutritious, although it does contain some amount of fat, definitely contains a lot of protein and other nutrients as well. Instead of eating vada or puri for breakfast, idli or poha is a much healthier substitute and definitely lesser in fat. Instead of eating naan, perhaps a tandoori roti or a pulka could be used. Instead of a dal makhani, a dal tadka could be used. Instead of fried vegetables, maybe sauteed vegetables, steamed vegetables, or just boiled vegetables with the masalas can be used. And nuts like almonds or sprouted beans like moon sprouts and things like that can be used as snacks in the evening. There's always beverages like coconut water, buttermilk, and good healthy beverages which can substitute high fat beverages. And of course, as desserts, we have dry fruits, fresh fruit salad, and so many other options that can come in which are not high in fat and also much more nutritious than which are the other desserts like even the Indian sweets for that matter. They are very very high in fat. So these dry fruits and fresh fruits can be used as a dessert in place of these common desserts that we normally have. And your second part of the question was about replacing the bad fats with good fats. So nuts and seeds, as we all know, have a lot of good fats in them, monounsaturated fatty acids, and those can replace fried and ultra processed foods which are high in fat. And of course, using less visible fat itself in cooking, that itself is a good move. And also replacing trans fats, I think FSSAI has done a wonderful work in that field by making trans fat free foods now available to most people. Although it's not completely out of our food system, I think it's on the way out. So which is a great thing. And of course, replacing saturated fats with monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fatty acids, which is a very good move. So sometimes using traditional oils that India is used to, what our parents and grandparents perhaps used. So that is again a better way of including better fats than using a very high saturated fat and trans fats in our diet.
All right, ma'am. So, ma'am, here if we talk about oil, I have a question that should we allow the rotation of oils in our household, like using new oil extra every time we are in the kitchen, like for a month or like weekly, kind of?
I'm sorry, Prerna, I lost you in between. I don't know whether it was your connectivity or mine, but I did not get the full question.
No
Can you
problem,
please
ma'am.
repeat?
I'll repeat the question. I just wanted to ask about the repetitive usage of cooking oil. Like, what are your views about repetitive usage of cooked oil in Indian kitchens? Like,
Okay, so if you're asking about reusing the same oil that is used, is that the
right,
question?
right.
Yeah, I think as dietitians, we always say don't reuse an oil more than twice, right?
Mhm.
So if you've already used an oil for frying once, then probably once more you could use the same oil to use in seasoning foods and things like that, and then try and finish that instead of frying over and over again using the same oil to fry foods. And there again, I think FSSAI has done a brilliant job in bringing in the RUCO concept, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, Dr. Gowley is nodding her head, so I know I'm on the right track. So I think the RUCO concept is a brilliant idea where the used oil can actually be given back to FSSAI. Am I right, Dr. Gowley? And that is, I think that is used as biofuel or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So I think,
I'll be touching this aspect, ma'am.
okay,
I'll be
you,
touching
okay,
this
sorry,
too.
all right,
So
all
no,
right.
no, it's okay. But I'll be touching, so I'll give a answer to your question.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. So this is what I have understood from the FSSAI initiative. I think that's a brilliant concept, and I would urge people not to reuse oil over and over again because it can create a lot of harmful substances if one uses oil over and over again. So it's always better to use it just once or twice and then move on to fresh oil.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for enlightening us. And now I'm going to ask the next question, and it's to Dr. Ali. So my question is to you is that we talk about too much fat in our diet, especially saturated fat, which can raise our cholesterol, which can increase the risk of heart disease. How fat contributes towards different health problems, either directly or indirectly?
Yeah, that's a known thing, and we have been sort of digging it very deep. And the more we dig, the more we find, and it's not a good it's not a good thing. Nothing good comes out of it. But so the latest guidelines from American College of Cardiology is to restrict saturated fats to less than 6% of your diet. So they were first went to 10%, 8%. Now it's down to 6% if you want to use saturated fats. And the overall fat content should be all included should be less than 20%. So not only fat, I think the combination of fat, salt, and sugar is what is actually more harmful. And saturated fats are in them very bad, but at the same time, in our scenario, if we see, I heard people talking about reusing the oil and other stuff. I think that is more important. So once the oil that is being reused gets rancid and it releases um, trans fat and free radicals, that actually is more of a concern for us, because saturated fats are more in your bakery products, in red meat and high end cheese, dairy products, cheese, other stuff. This is sort of people who are living upper middle class. They are using these products. But when we see poor people coming and having the same kind of problems, so if we dig deeper, we find that they are the people who are eating outside food many a times, and that food, samosas or kachoris or whatever, even same. I'm from Indore, so we use a lot of this stuff. And so people eat, this part of the diet, daily diet, they are eating it daily. So they are the people who are using this product, which has been sort of fried in oil, which has been reused multiple times. FSSAI, I think, has some regulation, but I think it has not reached the ground level yet, and we still see those karaos, where they keep on putting, once it decreases to a level, they put extra oil or ghee in that. They don't change it. So I think that two aspects are important. One, to decrease the saturated fats and the awareness, so we decrease our convert to low fat dairy products, decrease the use of meat in general. I mean, we need to be more of vegan rather than eating a lot of meat, and avoid bakery products as much as we I think every occasion we have a cake cutting in our hospital, which is ridiculous. I mean, we never saw this thing happening in the last, I think, 5 years. Has gone up so much. So bakery products, high fat dairy products, and meat, these are things that basically have affected the upper middle class, and the lower middle class and lower class people have been affected by this food that has been produced by reheating the oil. So this has affected my heart disease a lot. And what I means, what we see is not only heart disease, it produces atherosclerosis, which is a disease of the arteries. So arteries are not only supplying the heart, they're also supplying the brain, they're also supplying the kidneys, they're everywhere. So the combination of increased fat intake, increased sugar intake, increased salt intake, that leads to hypertension, diabetes, hypercholesterolemia, and these combinations are deadly. And especially if you are smoking or having tobacco, so these combination of factors is deadly. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for speaking. I was about to ask you about the other organs like fats, if fat does affect other organs too, as you talk about. If we're not talking about the heart, then how someone can take care of themselves, like having no education about the fats, trans fat, and things. So, what are your views about that?
I think what we emphasize when we go and speak in the public is my starting point is always to start exercising.
Okay.
Once a person takes care of his health, if he invests 10 or 20 minutes of brisk walking or jogging, we don't recommend any high-end gym membership. Just buy good shoes and start walking or running if you can, and that starts a positive cycle. Then you think about your health. You start thinking about your health. The next step we go is stop or avoid junk food, avoid outside food. Try and bring your tiffin if you're going to work, and eat home food. Whatever food you're eating at home is much better than what you get from outside. So these are the two basic things that we recommend. And then when you talk about home food, we tell them to don't add extra salt. Try and minimize your oil and fat intake as much as you can. It comes with gradual education. If you stop everything from the in one go, it's very difficult for people to understand. So we recommend decreasing sugar as much as possible, salt as much as possible, and decreasing oil and fat to a reasonable degree, where they can have taste of the food also. The important thing about, I think, what I think the other speakers will also highlight is, when people are sort of people who are educated, they go for low fat foods.
Right.
But the catch is, when you decrease the fat intake in a food, the sugar content goes up.
Right.
So many times you see packages saying very low content, low saturated fats and low fat content, but at the same time, to add taste to that food, you end up having more sugar in that food.
True.
So we need to make people aware of this thing, that anything that you eat outside is going to be bad for your health, especially processed food.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. So basically, three things are avoid junk, outside food, eat home cooked food, and just get a exercise in your lifestyle. That's it.
Start with exercise, yes.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really helpful for me also. You know.
Thank you.
So now, after Dr. Ali, I will have a question for Ms. Sheila Gavli, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
So, ma'am, as we know, FSSAI is coming up with various initiatives with respect to fat, like trans fat free, as Dr. Ali has just talked about, in India by 2022, and not to say lose oil, no adulteration in mustard oil, etc. How general public or consumer will be directly or indirectly benefited from it?
First of all, thank you so much, Yashi and Qualitech, for inviting me here, and I'm very much feeling honored to share the platform with these eminent speakers. Next is trans fat. You are talking about trans fats. Dr. Ali and Madam Sheila, Madam also has talked about trans fat, how it is bad for a health of a consumer. FSSAI has come with the initiative of trans fat free India till 2022. It is 1 year ahead of who has targeted 2023. We are targeting at 2022 trans fat free India. For this, we have started just last 5 years back only, where previously we were aiming at 5%, not more than 5% trans fat in a food. It was till 1st January 2021. Then till 2022, 1st January 2022, we had a target of less than 3% of trans fat free. Now we are targeting at less than 2% of trans fat free food since January 2022. Of course, this will be creating a large effect on general public, because the people like Dr. Ali and Dr. Sheila, they are creating awareness in the public regarding trans fat, bad effects of trans fat. So people are aware now. We have at least educated people are aware now that trans fats are not good for health, and FSSAI is taking initiative in minimizing these trans fats, right? Also, so because of this, the industry has started, because since this was launched in 2 years back only, we will be doing less than 2% of trans fat free. So the industry has tried and has modified their product, which can have less trans fat, because we are having surveillance, we are having enforcement for for searching this, where there may be more than 2% of trans fat. So the industry is aware that FSSAI has this scheme, and it has modulated using partially hydrogenated oil instead of using partially hydrogenated oil, which is having more trans fats. They have started using a complete hydrogenated oil, which has less amount of, and we are doing surveillance inspection. We are finding that is coming less than 2%. Of course, there will be many areas where people may not have followed this our regulation and all, our mandate which is there. So we are trying our best to minimize this at less than 2%. Next initiative is no packaging of loose oil. Means anyone cannot say loose oil. This is to minimize the adulteration at the manufacturing level, or at the means till it reaches the consumer. Because when it is a packed oil, so we can trace where the adulteration is done. If we allow to sell loose oil, we cannot find the traceability where the adulteration is being done. So that way it has helped people to choose their oil for their own choice. If they take loose oil, there is chances to have the adulteration in it. We have next thing, you talked about the blending of mustard oil. It is a mandate. See, we don't allow admixture of any two oils. Yes, we allow it if it is one of the oil is more than 20%. So that type of blending is allowed two oils of it. Otherwise, if anyone wants to mix 95 and 5, it is not allowed. Blending is allowed when one oil is more than 20%, because now people are aware they want mixed oils, combination of mufa, pufa. So we are allowing, but one should be more than 20%. But we are not allowing in any blending oil. Mustard oil is not at all allowed. So mustard oil, if anyone is getting it, it should be in pure form only. No two oils should contain mustard oil. When the blend is there, it should not contain a mustard oil. You did not ask, but I will. I have prepared that one more initiative is very important initiative of RUCO, repurposed used cooking oil, which is a very good initiative, as Dr. Sheila Madam said. Ki repurposed used cooking oil. We have initiative of RUCO. Means what we are doing? We are collecting used oil. We have a list of aggregators, authorized aggregators in our website, and they are collecting this used oil from the industry, which are in frying products like chips, potato chips, fryams, French fries, the KFC, like hotels. When they are using again and again oil, they can use oil again and again for oiling. From those industries, these aggregators collect the used oil, where we have mandated that this oil, when they are using for frying, it should not have total polar compound more than 25%. And because as you fry again and again, polar compounds increase and free radicals are generated in the oil, which are very harmful, as Dr. Alice also said, very harmful. They are harmful for cardiac, heart health, and they are also causing cancer causing radicals. So we are very much aware. We are very much making awareness in people also that don't use oil again and again. Dr. Sheila Madam said for 2 times. We have recommended for 3 times you can use, but because we have methods to we have found out that after 3 times there is definitely it is going to generate polar compounds more than 25%. So we have these aggregators. They collect oil from these industries, and this oil is not getting waste. It is converted to biodiesel or soap manufacturing, and we are tracing that whether it will not come into food chain again. When very good initiative MP government is taking, they are as a जो कचरा गाड़ी होती है उसमें उन्होंने एक डब्बा रख दिया है. They are collecting this used oil from house to house, and they means like raddi paper which we sell to raddi wala, like that they are paying for it. For used oil they are paying for it. Even aggregators, when they collect from industry, they are paying to industries. So like this we are trying to minimize the used oil in the food chain. One more issue raised by Dr. Ali, that lower class also is having cardiac problems. So what he was saying, that they are eating outside food. That is the main cause. But one more cause I am thinking that maybe that people like us, means a bit educated people, they know that again and again frying oil is not good. So what they do, after frying for 2 times, they don't throw away the oils. They give it to their maid or servant. And maid, when they are, means I have seen this, maid when they are getting free oil, because oil is not that cheap, so they are using this oil at their home. But this is to make we have to make awareness among themselves also, that this oil is not good for, as a like, if it is not good for our health, so it is not good for their health also. So that might be the main cause which Dr. Ali was telling, ki lower class people is also developing this outside food, plus this maybe the food. So FSSAI is taking many initiatives to benefit the health of consumers. So with this it is directly or indirectly giving benefits to the consumer, our initiatives.
And I'm pretty sure, ma'am, this is going to benefit the common people and the lower class people. They are not aware of anything.
Yeah.
Like they don't know the term trans fat, how it is affecting, but it is going to definitely benefit everybody. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words. So now, ladies and gentlemen, my next question is to Ms. Pratha Tripathi, ma'am.
Hi.
Hey, ma'am. Good afternoon. So now my question is to Ms. Tripathi. Ma'am, what type of obstacle the industry feel when we move towards trans fat free India, especially bakery industry, and what the suggestion message you want to give for micro and unorganized sector?
So, thanks for having me here. When we talk about the industry and how or what the industry is doing to move towards, the pledge of making the trans fat oils available and moving to a trans fat free India by 2022. With trans fat, what industry generally does is like, for all the bigger MNCs that are producing oil, they have the sufficient technology and expertise, where they can control the partial hydrogenation or interestification, and they have a team of experts who help them. But the major problem comes when we talk about the MSMEs और the micro small and medium enterprises. वहाँ पे काफी दिक्कत है कि एक तो technology transfer and awareness and what particular technology is needed, to move towards the partial hydrogenation of oil. How do they go about it? So there is a lack of knowledge which is hindering the change over to the trans fat containing oil towards producing oil that is substantially lower in trans fat. So and also if you look at the consumption of oil, that a normal uh, middle class or a lower middle class family income or family group purchases, तो ये जितने बड़े ब्रांड्स हैं इनकी इतनी ज्यादा आउटरीच नहीं है. आप किसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे, तालुका लेवल पे या टियर 2 टियर 3 cities में जाएंगे, you'll always find local oils, that dominate the market. And when we talk about the bakery products also, the number of local bakeries in our country is much more than the organized and bigger bakery brands. तो जो सबसे बड़ा challenge है, that is getting the technology, that too at an affordable price, to these oil manufacturers that are trying to convert to trans fat free oils, the production of trans fat free oils, and also for the suppliers who are making bakery fats that is used by the local bakeries. आप कहीं पे भी निकल जाइए, आप देखेंगे कि जो ये फैन है, खारी है, या फिर आपके जो रोल्स है और जो पफ पेस्ट्रीज मिलती हैं जगह जगह पे, outside schools, colleges, parks, everywhere. So if you look at the quality of the fat that is used for making these products, the TFA, the trans fat limits are way off the charts, because mostly so there has to be a network wherein if we create a guild or a platform wherein knowledge about the technology that is necessary for these oil manufacturers, specifically the जो small or micro enterprises हैं, medium enterprises हैं, जो oils बना रही हैं, है ना, उनको अगर ये technology हम provide कराएं, we can have it in the form of videos or certain documents, or maybe some sessions that can be conducted for their association. So it will be easier for them to move towards production of oil, the end product of which will have trans fat less than 1 gram per 100 grams. So that is one way of doing it. And the other way is again, जैसे अभी मेरे ख्याल से गौली मैम कह रहे थे कि there is a very good initiative where they are collecting the used cooking oil and then converting it into biodiesel, and also creating an awareness कि why you should not be reusing your oil again and again. So let me tell you one more thing that happens within the food industry. ये जितना भी used cooking oil होता है, not from the household but from hotels or bigger chains, it finds its way back into the food ecosystem. इसमें से कुछ ये कन्वर्ट कर देते हैं आपके emulsified fat में, that is used by your very low level bakeries, or it is used again for frying by your street food vendors. So having a check there, awareness there, and ensuring that this used oil is not finding its way back in the food system is very essential. So it has to be a multi-pronged approach where we are trying, where we should look at controlling the availability of trans fat free oils in the market. So I think that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We really appreciate every step taken, and hoping the or unorganized sector and everybody will come together and support this initiative.
So
And
they need support. They need support. Firstly, they need an awareness of
Right.
why they have to control it, and then they have to have the technical know-how. कि अच्छा करना है, कैसे करें?
Right.
क्या टेक्नोलॉजी लगेगी, उसको कैसे अवेलेबल उनके लिए कराया जाए. तो this all is like very crucial for the bigger target, that we are looking at.
Right. But hoping for the best, we will overcome all the obstacles with the support of everybody. Thank you so much, ma'am, for speaking. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Narasimha Bhatt, sir. Welcome, sir. So my question is to you is how different type of process affect nutritional value of oil? What is consumer perception in this? And also, what can be probable benefits of fortification of oil?
Thanking you for Yashi and the platform given to me to discuss these aspects of processing of the oil, etc. First thing is there are three choices in generally available. One is the cold pressed oil and kachi ghani, and then the refined oil. Before going to discuss about this, I just want to point out here. In general, Indian population, how they are using the oils. Generally, while cooking, the oil is shallow fry. You can say that for that the people are using the oil. Most of the oil consumed in our is frying certain food, veg, non-veg, etc. And third one is I don't know, some other way everywhere in India one peculiar process is that after everything cooking, the garnishing the oil or giving something like that. So these are the three different generally we can see in Indian cooking. Considering first one, frying, we have discussed adequately. For that, frying is concerned, I feel that the refined oil is the best one, because ultimately the refined oil production when doing the processing, so one process will come that a deodorization process. Deodorization process, the oil is given the heat up to about 240 to 60 degree temperature under the vacuum. So and by that process we are removing we are minimizing the free fatty acid, and we are controlling the trans fat, and also at the same time any pesticide residue, anything is there, we are removing from the oil. So in general, this refined oil is better frying point of view. So it is a minimum contamination or almost no contamination, you can say. So the people who are preferably taking the oil, particularly hotel industry, etc., when they are using the oil for frying, then the refined oil is the best of the best one. So I don't there is so many generally people are not giving the importance that which purpose you are using the oil and which oil to use. That is not generally discussed. That such a discussion should happen. That is one point. Second point, salad making, etc. Oil using in the foreign countries, it is happening. For that, cold pressed oil is better. And I don't know in the Indian scenario, particularly household this thing, how they are using the oil for salads, etc. Little questionable, but I think 3-star hotels, 4-star hotels, 5-star hotels, they may be using the oil for that. For that, the best thing is cold pressed oil, I can say. And now point comes about the kachi ghani oil. This is the traditional thing. Actually, kachi ghani is a traditional thing, and in India, if you can say north part of India, then the eastern part of India, they are very preferably using the kachi ghani oil, particularly mustard oil. And again, kachi ghani oil, when they produce, there is a possibility of some contaminants because it is not a refined oil. So how it is affecting the people, not affecting the people, we don't know, because the people are, everybody is there is a one mass way of thinking that kachi ghani oil is good, kachi ghani oil is good, but exactly is it true or not true, etc. If you talk about mustard oil, there is a not much iron content or something like that, or some very important nutritional things are not there, even though it is a very famous that if the kachi ghani oil is good, etc. But we have to look into what sort of purpose of that oil is to be used, and on that basis we have to decide. So that is the point there. And we have to focus on 2-3 things while using the oil. There should be minimum or almost no contaminants. Second thing is what is the fortification level, vitamin A and vitamin E. These fortifications are generally happening in the blended oil, etc., and it is good for health. And definitely, rural India, there is a child blindness, etc. If we are talking about the fortification of vitamin E is one of the important thing, and we have to focus. Particular rural health is concerned, rural people health is concerned. So the fortification we have to support. That is one thing important. But the third thing is very important is the shelf life of the oil. Shelf life of the oil, as per the whatever FSSAI allowed to us, about 150 to 250 ppm level antioxidant can be added. So and most of the industry, they will not go up to that 200 ppm. They are generally using 150 ppm, not more than that, TBHQ, etc. But ultimately, because of that, we are achieving the shelf life of about 8 to 9 months in the market, and that is also important because always the oil is having a tendency to degrade, and rancidification is possible, and rancidification output is the definitely the acid value, acidity increasing, etc. So anyway, the free fatty acid is not good for anybody's health. So uh, the point is the shelf life and the balance between the how much we are using the antioxidant, that is also important factor. Now we are talking about healthy heart is concerned. So LDL HDL ratio is also very important when choosing the oil. That is also important factor, and already it is discussed. I don't have to give more point on that. One point I had told you, that is our way of working, garnishing the oil last or kidney giving. In that everything, because uh, because the higher the smoke point, the smoke point, the oil is better. But whatever oil we are using in India, not sufficient level of smoke point is not there, and there is always in that while doing the garnishing, there is a possibility of forming the trans fat at that level. So educating our people, is it an essential thing? Kidney giving is so essential, or is it giving something very, I don't know what sort of benefit we are getting it, but uh, that is never discussed actually. Most of the time it is not discussed. But olive oil is one of the best because it's a smoke point is very high, and it is good for our this thing. But in India we are not using much olive oil, but just started. Most of the higher middle class, rich class, they are using the olive oil. So, so now one more thing is coming in between is a refined oil. Within the refined oil, there are so many or something, some marketing, you can say it is the only oil physically refined and good and etc. But there is no much difference between physically refined and chemical refined. Only one step with the difference between physically refined and chemically refined. That is a neutralization step. Okay, physically refining, that neutralized step is not there, and use of sodium hydroxide, and in the chemical refining it is there. So that is the only difference. But ultimately, the oil specification is maintained by each and every manufacturer in accordance with the FSSAI guidelines. There is no much difference. Still, I will say that because one harsh chemical, sodium hydroxide, is used for the chemical refining, definitely little more nutritional benefit may be there. That is in the physically refined oil. But ultimately, the specification is, as long as it's maintained by the FSSAI, almost both are the same. So is all oils are not able to cold press. Okay, Pachigani is not possible also. For example, rice bran oil, it is only refined oil is available in the market, rice bran oil. We can't cold press that, right? Because of that, it is made from its original material is husk, etc. So it comes from different things. So that is also a perception in the consumer in India is we want to use the light oil. Light means the little yellowish color, etc. But actually the point is more and more lighter and means more and more refined and more subject to heating, etc. is possible. And actually speaking, we may lose it. Actually, while refining, we are losing a lot of nutritional things. And if you make more and more lighter oil, then whatever little bit nutritional things were there in the oil, that also we are losing. So preferring the more and more lighter oil by consumer perception is not a good idea. So that is what I want to say over here. So any other thing I have missed, please let me know.
Thank you so much, sir, for speaking. Sir, I have a question about this oils. You have talked about cold pressed, refined, kachi ghani. So there is a basic problem about the price, the oil prices.
Yes, correct.
What do you think? What steps should be taken to reduce cold pressed oil so that common people can maintain a healthy life?
See, now, if you talk about so many oils, okay, and sunflower oil is a better oil. I'm just my thought process is the point is here. It's having it is not very close to the olive oil, but it is little very means it is a second to the this thing if smoke point is concerned, and and cost point of view also that is not so average, you can say, if you compare with the olive oil. So cost is one of the very important factor within this family of refined oil. But if you compare the cold press oil and refined oil, cold press oil is definitely very costly because the yield of the oil in the during the process is a very small yield we are going to get it as compared to refined oil. Even I think if you compare the kachi ghani will come in the middle. Kachi ghani, refined oil is the more yield possible, but kachi ghani also not so good yield is possible, and cold pressed is not at all. Because of this process differences is concerned, the oil cost will definitely more for the cold pressed oil, and the common man may not be able to in position to purchase that. But as I told you, the process is what purpose you are using the oil is important. So in any way, cold pressed oil is not required for frying is concerned, right? So frying is just for frying purpose is concerned, you can use the refined oil. So like that, we have to look into what purpose we are using it, and on that basis, we can think of to go for the particular oil purchase.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bhatt sir, for sharing such wonderful knowledge with us.
Thank you.
And now we're moving ahead with the next question, and it's to Mrs. Soumya ma'am. So ma'am, my question is, as we have learned throughout the session that not all fats are bad. So now let's talk about the good aspects of fat as well. So ma'am, I would like to know your views about the good aspects of fats.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Yashiji and Yari Qualitech for giving me opportunity to give my views on this interactive platform. And maybe I would just start with a little balanced diet, a little brief. What is balanced diet? What are the components in it? And then move on to the types of fat and health benefits. So basically, balanced diet is a diet where we have different type of nutrients we have take it in a right proportion. So that depends on the recommended dietary allowances. It depends on the physiological status of the person, gender, age, and so on. So we have this carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. So carbohydrates in ideal balanced diet, it comprises of 50 to 60% of carbohydrates, then 15 to 20% of proteins, and 20 to 30% of fats. It includes visible and invisible fat both. And here, when we are talking about carbohydrate, mostly the complex carbohydrates we are mentioning. Now, regarding the fats are of two types. It can be classified under saturated or unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fat can be further classified as PUFA and PUFA, monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, and trans fats. Now, what we require here is we need a healthy combination of all this, PUFA, and saturated. So ideally in a diet, so it has to be 1:1:1 ratio. when we are talking about healthy combinations, first of all, we have to, when we are counseling a patient, we have to look into their clinical diseases or clinical issues or diseases. We have to consider the age. We have to consider what are the other comorbidities they're having. Based on that, we have to calculate. But ideally, 20 to 30% of fats have to come from a daily diet, Indian diet. So if it's a cardiac patient, we normally restrict to 15 grams in visible form. That is 2 to 3 teaspoons, 10 to 15 ml. But ideally what we would be doing is we would ask them to have a combination of fats like MUFA, monounsaturated fats like mustard oil is rich in MUFA. Sunflower oil is rich in PUFA. So mostly we combine. What we do is we ask them to combine, not blend, but we combine alternatively. For example, 15 days or 1 month you're using this oil, then you change the oil, so that that healthy composition is maintained, the healthy ratio is maintained. Next, let us come to the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. That's a classification of PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acids. Here, as Dr. Mohammed Ali had thrown light on, so what we require is the right proportion of ratio of rather omega-6 is to omega-3. So ideally, if it is 4:1 ratio, so it has some protective role. So what we have to mention is the rich sources of omega-3 and omega-6 are sardines, mostly the fish oils, cod liver oils, sardines, salmon, mackerel, flax seeds, maybe chickpeas, and many other healthy fats. So when we are, especially when we are counseling the patients, we have to look into the background. So saturated fat is mostly not recommended for the cardiac patients or the patients with who are having strokes, CVA. So we have to have a balanced diet, including all these healthy fat. Like for example, food like smoothies, like low fat milk, we can combine with other nuts like pistachios, almonds, walnuts. So that makes a very good combination. So this can be incorporated in our daily diet. So used to, in order to maintain a healthy ratio and hence elevating certain diseases.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for speaking. Now, I'll just ask you about the nuts we are talking about, almonds, pistachios, and cashews. People say that, like, we are actually listening to this and educating about this, that you always have to have the soaked nuts only. You don't have to get the store-bought nuts. You get it and soak it and then eat it or have it like anything. So, what are your views about that?
Yeah, this is a very nice question. So this is a very common question our patients ask. So basically, soaking helps in we have some anti-nutritional factors. So soaking and discarding of the water is part of discarding of the to some extent minimizing that. Number one. Number two, soaking also it helps in making the digestibility, helping with the process of digestion because it becomes a little softer. And thirdly, also it can be, if you are soaking it, you can use it in a various way. I mean, you can use it in multiple ways, maybe in the smoothies, in the paste.
Right.
Instead of using cornstarch, you can use it as a thick paste for
Paste. Right.
So that is a healthy option. So we have to be creative. The key word is moderation. So we have to have it, but we have to have it moderation. And how much to have, what to have, how frequently to have, we have to take advice from the dietitian.
All right. Thank you so much, ma'am. If I talk about the key takeaway right now for this session, so what is your one-liner key takeaway for us?
Moderation and eat healthy, and we have to exercise regularly. We have to be persistent and consistent, and have a we need to keep a watch on what we are eating. That's most precisely, if I would like, mindful eating. We have to focus on mindful eating, exercise regularly, adequate hydration. Not now it's summers, but not only in summers, we need to adequate ourselves. We need to hydrate ourselves frequently, and we should opt for the natural options like buttermilk. They are not only low calorie, so low fat buttermilk, then jeera water, jaljeera water, pudina, lemon water. So these can be, this way, when if you're incorporating, that also improves hydration, and you also develop healthy habit of drinking water. Instead of drinking water, many people do not have. In order to incorporate that into their schedule, so this would be advisable.
All right. Thank you so much, Soumya ma'am, for sharing such wonderful knowledge with us. And now I request all the eminent speakers to please get ready for I would be asking you for the key takeaways of this session. First, I request Sheila Gowli ma'am. What would be the key takeaway for us about this session?
You have to make people aware about what are the initiatives of FSSAI, that is for regulator, for manufacturers on, but consumers should be aware of what is going on in the society. If there is some initiatives we are taking, we are making awareness, so they have to be with us and they have to cooperate with us with what we are spending, not spending, we are taking a lot of effort on making awareness, so people should join us to make hands in hands with FSSAI and to cooperate with us. Otherwise, other healthy things the doctor and nutritionists are telling them, but what we are doing for it, they should cooperate us.
Right, right. They'll surely make us understand that they are supporting us. Thank you so much, ma'am. And now I'm going to ask for the key takeaway from Krishna Swami ma'am. Ma'am, what will be the key takeaway for us from this session?
Thank you, Prerna. Since we are talking on fats in this session, I'm going to just focus on that. I think the important fact for everyone to remember is that fats are not bad for health. We don't need to stop eating fats completely, nor do we need to take fats in excess, because in excess, as everyone has mentioned earlier, they can lead to health problems. So fats in small quantities, eaten regularly along with daily meals, can actually be beneficial to support a lot of physiological functions in the body. So small quantities of fat, preferably fresh fat and not reused oil, which is used over and over again, in small quantities, and preferably also in home cooked foods, avoiding trans fats, saturated fats, and ultra processed foods. Some of you mentioned bakery items. So yes, all those kind of ultra processed foods, avoiding high fat foods and minimizing fat intake, I think is the most important step towards better health. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now, I request Dr. Ali to please share the key takeaway of this session. Now, Ms. Tripathi to please share the key takeaway.
See, whatever discussion today happened, it is contribute to 15 to 20% of the cholesterol, heart, healthy heart, whatever. The most of the cholesterol is generated body itself, right? Our contribution of discussion is limited to 15 to 20%. Okay, whatever. For that, we should not worry much. And what I am saying is one word has come up: everything in moderation. Okay, so everything in moderation is the right key takeaway for today's this thing. So, what best possible as a saturated fat is concerned. So, which is whatever the bakery items, avoiding bakery item, etc. is we can look into. Otherwise, the healthy intake of very bare minimum oil is good for nutrition point of view, and we have to create the awareness about that. That is very important.
Thank you so much, sir. So I request Ms. Tripathi to please share the key takeaway with us. I think she's not available. So I would really thank all the key speakers and eminent speakers who are here with us and sharing their time with us and such wonderful knowledge. I'm so feeling enlightened personally as I said in the initial session, that I'm really, really excited to know all these things from you, and it was a great, great session. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm going to pay the vote of thanks to all of you. On behalf of delegates and entire team of Yari Quality, I express our deep gratitude to all the eminent speakers. A special thanks to Ms. Sheila Gowli ma'am for sharing different FSSAI initiatives. We are grateful to Dr. Ali for sharing effect of different food on health. I would like to thank Sheila Krishna Swami ma'am for having such wonderful smile all the session and for sharing different type of fat and beautiful takeaway. Thank you, ma'am. I'm grateful to Preetha ma'am for sharing actual status of ME and bringing up importance of education. And I'm thankful to Narsima Bhatt for sharing industrial view and consumer perception. Thank you so much, sir. And last but not at all the least, a special thanks to Mrs. Soumya for briefing on different type of fats. We also acknowledge our media partners and a heartfelt big gratitude to Herbalife Nutrition for supporting such initiatives of and helping us in this endeavor. Herbalife is committed to create healthy ecosystem and creating awareness on healthy well-being. Thanks to all of you. Once again, happy World Nutrition Day to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I would like to request that whatever platform I'm sharing with these eminent speakers, I would like to have their contact details if they don't mind. So please share with me so we can have communications with each other in the future. So if they don't mind, please share.
I will share to you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, she has our contacts, I think, so she'll probably.
Yes. Yes, Sheila ma'am, I will share all the contact details with you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all the eminent speakers, for joining us and sharing your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yashi. Bye.
Thank you so much and have a great day ahead, everybody. Take care.